Chapter 5, Final Consumers and Their Buying Behavior. Specific aspects of the customers, both final consumers and organizational customers, are going to be addressed in this lecture. And this lecture specifically focuses on the buying behavior of final consumers. We're going to look at three determinants of consumer behavior. We're going to see individual consumer factors, including economic needs, psychological variables, social influences, and the purchase situation. We're going to also look at external influences on consumer behavior like marketing mixes and other stimuli. And we're going to see problem-solving and decision-making processes consumers go through. Economics and psychology often are cited as a key source of marketing thought, but marketing also derives a great deal of knowledge about consumer behavior from sociology, anthropology, and other social sciences. The basic model of consumer behavior shown here integrates many of these influences. Economic buyers are those people who know all the facts and logically compare choices to get their greatest satisfaction from spending their time and money. Economic needs are those needs that are concerned with the consumer making the best use of his or her time and money. Economy of purchase or use, efficiency in operation, dependability in use, improvement of earnings, or convenience. These are all economic needs. Psychological variables include those things that are going on in the mind of the consumer that affect the purchase. Some examples are attitudes, personality, learning processes, trust and perceptions. Social influences are those that have to do with the associations that the buyer might have with other people. Some examples are culture, social class, and family influences. Then the purchase situation factors include the reasons for the purchase, time pressure involved, and surroundings of the purchase. Marketing mixes affect this process. All other stimuli and influences have an impact on the problem-solving process. Outcome of the process might or might not be a purchase. Economic conditions affect consumer confidence and spending. So, what are those economic needs? What does this mean? Economic buyers seek the best uses of time and money. They're focused on the economy of purchase or the economy of use. They're interested in the efficiency in operation or the efficiency of use, dependability in use, improvement of earnings, convenience. Income affects needs and satisfaction directly related to money a consumer has, and discretionary income is the income available after taxes. Consumer confidence also affects spending. So here we have two advertisements. One is from Geico, which is in a car insurance company, and the other one is Healthy Choice. And this provides the target market with a focus on whether it's a healthy choice or economic needs. And the economic need here is to have an economy of purchase. Geico has the lowest rates available, and Healthy Choice is more about dependability and convenience. Economic needs may affect many buying decisions, but they're not the whole story. So here we see this Subaru Legacy is showing the effect of a test drive, a dummy, trying to get safety. And so this would be addressing what? Dependability in use, efficiency in operation, psychological influences within an individual. First and foremost, throughout this entire course, we are focused on the needs. Without a need, we would probably fail in our attempt to achieve our marketing goals and fail in our attempt to get sales. Marketers who follow the marketing concept are concerned with satisfying the needs of consumers. Well, what exactly are needs, and what types of needs are there? Well, needs are the basic forces that motivate consumers to do something. Wants are different. Wants are learned needs. That is, they are needs expressed as a desire for a particular need satisfier. And drives are different. Drive is a strong internal stimulus that encourages action to reduce a need. So consumers seek benefits to meet their needs. So this list shows some of the important needs that might motivate a person to take action. So on the far left column we see physiological needs, that's the body, the human body's needs. Psychological needs, that's the mental needs. The desire for something, the freedom from something. So what does the body need? The body needs food, sex, and rest. What does the mind need? Nurturing, playing, self-identification. And what is the desire for need? Acceptance, esteem, knowledge, respect, status. And what is the need regarding the freedom from? Well, that's going to be fear and pain. So now we see specific examples to the right 3 columns that address these needs. Okay? What addresses the need for rest, sleep? What addresses the need for self-identification, personal fulfillment, self-expression, playing, love, pride. So here's the famous hierarchy of needs. There are many different levels of needs, and they can appeal to or motivate a person. The PSSP pyramid shown here helps apply motivation theory to the particular needs of consumers and marketing managers trying to develop marketing mixes to meet those needs. So again, what's our marketing mix? That's the 4 P's: product, price, place, promotion. We have that at our disposal to meet the hierarchy of needs we see here. What are the physiological needs? These are the most basic needs people need, such as food, liquid, rest, sex. What are safety needs? These are concerned with the protection and the physical well-being. And so that would be health, medicine, exercise, and security. And what are social needs? These are derived from a person's interaction with others. Would be love, friendship, status, esteem, connecting with others. And what are the personal needs? Well, these are concerned with an individual's need for personal satisfaction and unrelated to what others do. So an example would be personal satisfaction, accomplishment, fun, freedom, and relaxation. So here's another view of the PSS hierarchy of needs. We see some examples here. So what would appeal to the lowest levels? Physiological needs, milk, and the promotion of milk. What would address the safety needs? Learn and live, as far as the American Heart Association, so it's good, healthy lifestyles. And how about the need for social needs? When you care enough to send the very best. This is Hallmark greeting cards. And what about personal needs? So it costs a bit more, but I'm worth it. That's L'Oreal with hair color. So, after this lecture, please study this. So let's check our knowledge at this time. Advertisements for Haynes Jeep Chrysler feature the slogan, "Come to Haynes, where the fun begins." This is an appeal to the consumer's personal need. Personal needs are those concerned with an individual's need for personal satisfaction, unrelated to what others think or do. And the examples are self-esteem, accomplishment, fun, freedom, relaxation. And the ad appeals to the consumer's personal needs, such as fun. So, perception determines what consumers feel and see. So perception refers to how people gather and interpret information from the world around them. Marketers are very much interested in the processes people use to handle incoming marketing mix stimuli, because people can't process all of the information to which they're exposed on a daily basis. The volume is simply too great. So what do we mean by this? Well, marketing mix are the 4 P's: product, price, promotion, place, and those cause a person who receives that stimulation, that stimuli. And so because we are constantly surrounded by marketing stimuli, we can't not process all the information that we receive. It is simply too great a volume. So we go into selective exposure. And this means that consumers seek out and notice only the information that interests them. That's selective exposure. Selective perception means that people screen out or modify ideas, messages, and the information that conflicts with previously learned attitudes and beliefs. That's selective perception, with screening out of ideas and stimuli and messages. Selective retention means that consumers remember only what they really want to remember. So we retain only that which we want to retain. So selective exposure is when our eyes and minds seek out and notice only information that interests us. How often have you closed a pop-up ad at a website without even noticing what it was for? That's an example of selective exposure. Selective perception, we screen out or modify ideas, messages, and information that conflicts with previously learned attitudes and beliefs. Selective retention, we remember only what we want to remember. And selective processes explain why some people are not affected at all by some advertising. They don't see it, they don't remember it. The tagline objective, remember the ad or brand, only 10% recall the tagline. And our needs affect the selective process. Ads occur weekly, but we do not notice them until we need them, like a rice cooker, or refrigerator, or TV, or washer, or batteries. We won't remember these until we actually need one. So let's check our knowledge. Pat purchased a Ford car, which is a Taurus, but traded it in for another brand before it was out of warranty because it was constantly needing repairs. Now every time Pat sees an ad that mentions the quality of Ford's new vehicles, all she can think about is the problems she had with her Taurus. This is an example of what? What do you think? D. Selective perception. Selective perception takes place when we screen out or modify ideas, messages, and information that conflicts with previously learned attitudes and beliefs. Because of Pat's bad experience with Ford, she is modifying the message of the current ad. So, what is the learning process? Marketers understand that virtually all of the consumer behavior is learned, so they are very interested in how they can positively affect the learning process. So learning is a change in a person's thought process caused by prior experience. As mentioned earlier, a drive is a strong internal stimulus that encourages action to reduce a need. Cues are stimuli in the environment that trigger a drive or response. A response is an effort to satisfy a drive. Reinforcement occurs when the response is followed by satisfaction, which reduces the drive. So marketers often try to identify positive cues or images that have positive associations from some other situation and relate them to their marketing mix. Many needs are culturally learned. So learning is a change in a person's thought process caused by prior experience. Learning is based on direct experience, such as the first taste of ice cream, the first taste of pudding, hot dogs, hamburgers, French fries, Coca-Cola, first taste of alcohol or beer. These are all learned experiences. Cues are products, signs, ads, and other stimuli in the environment. And when a person receives a cue, he chooses some specific response. Responses are such as an effort to satisfy a drive. Specific response chosen depends on the cues and the person's past experience. So attitudes clearly relate to buying. An attitude is a person's point of view about something. Attitudes tend to be learned. They shape information processing in the consumer's mind. Attitudes also relate to buying decisions consumers make. Therefore, marketers do a lot of attitude research. So what are beliefs? Beliefs are opinions people have about something. Green attitudes and beliefs change marketing mixes. A growing number of consumers believe that they can have a positive effect on the environment if they buy from companies that can help them make greener choices. Most marketers work with existing attitudes. Consumer attitudes tend to be enduring. It's usually more economical for marketers to work with them than to try to change them. Changing negative attitudes is probably the most difficult job marketers face. Ethical issues may arise if marketers promote inaccurate or false beliefs. Expectations are outcomes or events that a person anticipates. And understanding and meeting expectations are both important in order to build long-term relationships with customers. Building consumer trust builds sales. Trust is the confidence a person has in the promises or actions of another person, brand, or company. Trust drives expectations because when people trust, they expect the other party to fulfill promises or perform capably. Trust can be very important in some purchase situations. So psychological focus on activities, interests, and opinions. Personality and lifestyles are other psychological variables that affect consumer behavior. Personality affects how people see things. Marketers have found it difficult to incorporate personality into the marketing mix. Psychographics, or lifestyle analysis, involves activities which are identifying what people do, objectively observable. Interests tend to create stronger drives that may pinpoint market opportunities. Opinions are the ways in which people feel about things. So by combining with interests and activities, marketers can develop a robust view of certain target markets. So here we see an exhibit, and it shows a number of variables for each of the AIO dimensions: activities, interests, opinion, dimensions, along with some demographics used to add some detail to the lifestyle profile of a target market. So we have 4 dimensions: activities, interests, opinions, demographics, and here are the examples related to each. Let's look at a Volvo ad. Here we see a pepper and salt shaker, but it's also shaped as a V. Performance and safety. At Volvo, we believe they go very well together. Advertisement for a leading car manufacturer. The Harley-Davidson ad. Here's the face of a person. Here's all the parts of the Harley scattered around. Build yours. Build your own Harley from its own parts. Another great ad. Hey, you in the minivan, how long are you in for? It's time to ride. So you can imagine a Harley-Davidson driver pulling up next to a minivan and this looking over at each other. Guy on a Harley and guy in a minivan. It's time to ride. Here is an apple beer ad. Some people don't drink alcohol, but they prefer non-alcoholic beverages similar to beer. It's beer because soda sounds wussy. So it's apple beer, made from apples. Here's a beef ad. Calling beef fat is not only mean, it's untrue. Truth is, 29 cuts of beef are now considered standards, and 95% lean ground beef is one of them. It's an ad to promote beef consumption. Don't fear the refill. So here's an ink cartridge for printers. Cartridge World selling this. Price point's competitive. So the family life cycle influences our needs, and the relationships with other family members influences many aspects of consumer behavior. This shows a summary of stages in the family life cycle: young single, young married without children, young married with children, middle-aged with children, middle-aged married without dependent children, older married, older unmarried. Wow. On all the variations. Young people and families accept new ideas. Reallocation for teenagers and selling to empty nesters. Empty nesters are the people whose children are grown and who now are able to spend money in other ways. This clearly influences our needs, where we are in our life cycle. So you can see here, you can see some of the type of activities, products, services that would be possible depending upon where one is in the life cycle. So, social influences clearly affect our consumer behavior. Psychological variables are not the only influences on consumer behavior. Relations with other people, social influences are very important. Relationships within a family and or peers may have an impact. Some parents and school systems worry that kids are too concerned about what clothing is in and about the social influence of peer pressure, which means how other children will react to what they wear. So to avoid this type of peer pressure, many schools now require a uniform that all students must wear, so that eliminates an element. French Toast has taken advantage of this growth opportunity, and it believes in dressing kids for success. Here's French Toast, the official school wear, dressing kids for success. Social influences affecting consumer behavior. Simple approaches for measuring social class in the big U.S. market. Perceived and actual social standing have powerful influences on consumers. It's important to remember when considering these influences that the person chosen or appointed to fill social influence roles is largely determined by the social class to which the consumer belongs. So what is a social class? It's a group of people who have approximately equal social position and as viewed by others in the society. What do these classes mean? Well, in the U.S., income is not the main determinant of social class. People with similar incomes can be in different social classes because of their occupation, education, and type or location of housing. This determines social classes. Income is not the main determinant in the large U.S. market. So other social influences, there we go. Reference groups are the people to whom an individual looks when forming attitudes about a particular topic. Opinion leaders are people who influence others. Their influence matters because of some characteristic they have. They can provide important word-of-mouth advertising, and if marketers can reach the opinion leaders who are buyers, that can have dramatic effects. Marketers can use opinion leaders as official endorsers for their marketing offerings. And culture is the whole set of beliefs, attitudes, and ways of doing things of a reasonably homogeneous or similar group of people. Culture varies in international markets. Marketers are placing even more emphasis on marketing research capabilities in the international world. So, family, reference groups, social class, culture, and a subculture. Let's look at some more ads. Here's a Crest Kids set. Crest is a leading toothpaste, Procter & Gamble maker, in the U.S. Look, Mom, no cavities. Look, Mom, I'm the new Crest kid. Columbia Sportswear, leading manufacturer of sportswear in the U.S. market. Wherever snot freezes, we'll be there. Snot is the slang term for mucus and waste coming from the nose. So wherever it's cold, we'll be there. Social influences affect, clearly, consumer behavior. Physiological variables are not the only influences on consumer behavior. Relations with other people, called social influences, are also important. Relationships with family, peers have a huge impact. So, here's another example. If you put all the children in uniforms, you eliminate some of the peer pressure problems. Limited or extensive problem solving. Here is a problem with medicine in a child's condition. You can choose exactly the correct medicine with no side effects from this company's medical product offering. All natural. So let's check our knowledge here. Anime is a cartoon-like Japanese art form, and it's generated much interest in the Gen Y consumers in the U.S. Anime conventions occur regularly, and the largest ones sometimes have 20,000 attendees. Anime fans, many in costume, come to these conventions to shop, participate in anime workshops, and to simply hang out with people with similar interests. Promotion of these conventions capitalizes mainly on D. Reference group influences. A reference group is the people to whom an individual looks when forming attitudes about a particular topic. Consumers may take values from these reference groups and make buying decisions based on what the group might accept. So clearly, reference group influences. Individuals are affected by the purchase situation. The particular situation a consumer is in during or around the time of a purchase can have significant effects on the actual purchase. Among the key situational influences are: the purchase reason can vary. Why a consumer makes a purchase can affect buying behavior. Time available for the purchase also affects what happens. And physical surroundings of the purchase affect buying, as do the emotional responses they elicit or encourage. So here we have an exhibit, and it is often useful to view the purchase itself as the culmination or the coming together of several decision steps that solve a problem for the consumer. These steps are affected by the economic, physiological, social, and situational influences already discussed. So awareness. In this stage, consumers become aware of or interested in a need or a problem and in the ways to satisfy the need. If the consumer has faced the same problem in the past and has been satisfied with a solution, that solution may be routinely selected again without much thought. Alternatively, the problem-solving decision process may be more extensive. Problem-solving involves gathering memories or searching for information from friends, the web, stores, or other sources. This helps the consumer identify alternative ways of meeting a need and also decide what factors or decision criteria are important in making a decision. Then the consumer evaluates the alternatives and decides which purchase decision would be best. Then we have the purchase decision. This decision entails purchasing a product or perhaps deciding to postpone a decision for now and forego a purchase. And then we evaluate the decision. So after purchasing the product, the consumer assesses the experience of his or her decision based on the experience. This is the entire consumer decision process. Need awareness, response, from deciding how to solve the problem, experience after the purchase. We are affected by marketing mixes and other stimuli. Here is the consumer problem-solving routine. We search for information, we identify alternatives, set criteria, evaluate alternatives. And here is the continuum that we face. The time, effort, and source of information used in making a purchase can be influenced by the relative level of involvement of the consumer experiences. So in extensive problem solving, a consumer attempts to satisfy a completely new or important need. So much information is needed. The consumer has no experience. The decision and risk of making a wrong decision are important. And these purchases are often referred to as high involvement purchases. In limited problem solving, the consumer is willing to put forth some effort, perhaps to update or add to previous experience or because the problem is moderately important. In routinized response behavior, a consumer resorts to habit to solve a problem. These purchases are often referred to as low involvement purchases that have little importance or relevance to the consumer. The idea of a decision process does not imply that consumers always apply rational processes in their buying decisions. The consumer problem-solving process doesn't always lead to a purchase. Limited or extensive problem-solving. Here we see a person who's a lawyer, a mother, and a real customer. To meet the needs of his target market, DHC has developed a deep cleansing oil with natural ingredients. It removes waterproof makeup without leaving any residue on the skin. It would depend on the effort of the consumer willing to expend and the previous consumer experience in using the cleansing oil. That's how the problem-solving situation would occur. The classification of a purchasing decision as extensive problem-solving, limited problem-solving, or routine response is something that takes place only in the mind of the consumer, not in the mind of the marketer. So here's the adoption steps. Many new product concepts require an adoption process. In these situations, consumers may pass through a series of steps used to investigate and evaluate and ultimately accept or reject an idea or product as a solution to their problem. So in the awareness stage, the potential customer first learns about the existence of a product that may lack more details. If the interest stage is reached, the consumer will gather general information and facts about the product. Then you have the evaluation stage. Here's the stage where the consumer gives the product a mental trial, applying it to his or her own personal situation. And in the trial phase, the consumer may buy the product to experiment with it in use. The consumer ultimately makes a decision on either adoption or continued use or rejection of the product from further consideration. After the decision, there is confirmation. Here the adopter continues to think and rethink the decision and searches for further support that it was correct. Dissonance may set in after the decision, and this is when tensions caused by the uncertainty about the rightness of the decision. That's the end of this chapter.